The first reviews for Avatar Fire and Ash are officially here, and people have lots of positives and negatives to say about this movie, so let's see what the critics are saying. Starting off with the Rotten Tomatoes score, which has debuted at 71%, which just means out of the 124 critics that have reviewed the movie on Rotten Tomatoes so far, 71% of those gave it a positive score. This number is going to change a little bit as more critic reviews come in, but it's going to stay probably right around this number. And as you can see in this tweet, it actually started at a 69%, and it's been slowly rising a little bit throughout the day, but still the lowest debut for a Rotten Tomatoes score for any of the Avatar films. The first one is sitting at an 81%, and Avatar The Way of Water has a 76% right now. But let's get into these reviews because, like I said, a lot of people either really love or hate this movie, but we'll start with one that's kind of in the middle because Caitlin Booth says Avatar Fire and Ash might be visually beautiful, but the story repeats the same beats we've seen before with very little deviation through its very long runtime, and she gave it a 6.5 out of 10 rating. But switching up to somebody that absolutely loves the movie, Julian Roman gave it a raving review with a 4.5 out of 5 rating, saying it has an epic narrative, mind-blowing 3D, and unparalleled action scenes, the biggest blockbuster of the year. Superlatives have become a standard refrain as James Cameron's science fiction magnum opus returns to Pandora for its third chapter, so very glowing remarks here. Grace Randolph says that this is the weakest Avatar movie, and goes further than that, saying it's also James Cameron's weakest film, but with stunning visuals and great performances, it's still enjoyable if you're a fan of the franchise, but if you're not a fan of the previous two movies, it's probably not worth checking this one out. It's not really going to win you over. More similar comments coming in from Randy Meeks here. He gave it a 2 out of 5 rating. It says that it is the worst film in the saga. It's repetitive, unoriginal, and at times tedious in its obsession with telling us every last detail about Pandora. So again, kind of depends on what you like in these movies. If you liked Way of Water and just want to learn a little bit more about Pandora, maybe this is going to be right up your alley. But if you didn't really care for that movie, this is not going to be for you. But like I keep saying, the reviews are all over the place because Benjamin says that James Cameron sets an exciting pace, constantly interwoven with conflicting dynamics, expertly building and releasing tension which rivals the average superhero film, which kind of an odd comment, I'm not gonna lie right there, but he gave it an 8 out of 10. Daniel Baptista says Avatar Fire and Ash is the cinematic event of the year you need to see to believe in another massive visual masterpiece from James Cameron. You know what else is massive? The low taper fade me. Fred doesn't need a lot of words to convey his feelings on the movie. He says it can be silly and spread too thin, but the highs are very genuine, and he gave it a positive score, not an exact number. And getting more into some positive reviews, Terrence Johnson says that Avatar Fire and Ash is a high wire act that despite a few stutter steps ultimately lands at a satisfying destination. Charles says that Fire and Ash is a technical marvel, but at its core feels like Cameron is still recycling a lot of the franchise basics in this movie. Like I said, this is the theme from pretty much all the reviews. If you like the first two films, especially Way of Water, you're gonna get a lot more of that in this movie. But if you want to see something different or you didn't particularly care for Way of Water, this is not gonna do much for you. I know everybody absolutely hates IGN, so I thought it'd be funny to throw their review in here. They gave it a 9 out of 10, and they do even point out that there are some problems, it lacks some novelty, but they ultimately thought it is a very gratifying final, and they gave it a 9 out of 10, which I don't know why they're calling it a finale. We're gonna get more movies after this one, but I guess it's like the end of the first trilogy. So I'm not gonna lie, these reviews are a little bit disappointing to me because I was not that big of a fan of the first two Avatar films. I give them both like a 5 to 6 out of 10. I don't think they're terrible in any way, shape, or form. They just really don't do anything for me. Like the technical marvel that these movies are only takes you so far if I'm not invested in the story and the characters that are here, which I'm not, and it seems like this movie's not changing anything, so I don't think I'm gonna really like this movie, but I will still be checking it out and dropping a review for you guys. Ultimately, the best part of Avatar Fire and Ash might be going to see it for the Avengers Doomsday trailer that's attached to it that actually leaked the other day. If you want to hear all about what's in that trailer, click the video above my head right now, and thank you so much for watching.